decent throw by Jordan at the end of practice?
Yeah, it was great though. I mean, he hit the guy right in stride, and now it's questionable whether or not he gets that ball off or not. So.
What you just thought until we're one practice away from having things wrapped up? You thought of Jordan's stretch of off season?
Yeah, I think it's been as good as it could have been in terms of just we're so limited in what we can do, but in terms of working on the core fundamentals and being consistent with that, I think he's done a nice job.
This guy hadn't been as productive the last couple of years as he had been early in his career. What have you all seen from him so far?
Bless you.
He had that great play today. And just what made y'all think that you might have something?
Well, I think, obviously the value as a returner has always been there. And he has had some production, and obviously he's made some big plays throughout the course of his career. And so just nice to have, a guy that's played in some big-time moments. And so just let him – you always want competition, because I'm a big believer in the more comp you have, the more it pushes everybody, and then you're going to get the most out of everyone and see the best version of them. So, yeah, it's great to have a guy like that.
New experience in the league. How many years or games, starts for a quarterback do you think it takes before you really know what you got there?
I think every case is a little different. So, I mean, I feel pretty confident that we know what we have in Jordan, and we got a lot of confidence in him. I'm assuming that's who you're talking about. So,
Didn't mean to interrupt you.
You're good.
Was the pass rush at the end why the offense was doing the push-ups after practice?
No. That was from a team competition that we had this morning, where we throw people's faces up on the screen and always put the rookies up there, one offense, one defense. Today we had two from offense, two from defense, and they have to, whoever gets the most right wins the competition. So it's just, fun ways to incorporate competition, but also I think it's important, you probably should know the people in the building who you're working with on a daily basis if you ever want to develop any sort of connection with them. The people you're working with, from the coaches to the players to athletic trainers to equipment, PR, it doesn't matter, everybody. The kitchen staff. Like how I threw that in there? Yeah, you like that.
Matt, I know in the past, on the final day of minicamp, you've done some sort of team building thing. Is that your plan for tomorrow, or are you guys going to be on the field?
We'll be on the field tomorrow. I think that is team building, right? Yeah. When you're going through some hard stuff together. And so I just think with kind of the circumstances of this year, the fact that the bone is really next week, not having them all in here, and also kind of what we did at the beginning. So I think it's important for us to maximize our time and get that work in.
Matt, this is a little off topic, but the NFL, I think, added some things that replay assist can correct to maybe prevent you guys from having to challenge stuff. Do you think that's going to have a positive impact on those kind of plays?
Yeah, I think anytime they can take it out of our hands in terms of, I know you guys cringe every time I pull that red flag out, so the less I have to do that, the better, I guess.
You're one of the better ones, though, among active coaches in terms of
You know what? That's very nice of you to say, Rob. I appreciate that. Can you remind all your colleagues out there that?
You're in the top 6.
Okay. I never knew that. You learn something new every day.
Is there a challenge you're particularly proud of that you got right?
I can't really recall one. Do you recall one? Okay. Wallers, little help here? I need a lifeline. I'm sure, yeah, every one you don't win.
So with the losing or skipping week OTAs, however you want to frame it, are you still installing stuff now? I guess, or where are you as far as that stuff goes?
Yeah, I would say you're always making little tweaks here and there, but I would say the majority of the install that these guys are going to have to know throughout training camp is pretty much in. And then, like there'll be stuff that as we have, 30-plus days to get creative, when there's no pressure, when you're just sitting there and thinking about things, that I'm sure that there'll be a couple ideas that kind of come up upon us over the course of the summer.
Matt, your
You
thoughts on
mentioned Hardman and the competition he brings to the receiver room. As a veteran player, how has he embraced kind of the competitive situation?
Yeah, he's done a great job. I think all those guys have. Really, everybody on our team, I think they have come in with the right mentality, the right mindset. Just, all you can control is the things that you do. So that's where your focus should be. If you're worried about anybody else, you're not focused on the right things.
Matt, I know week 8's a long ways away, but your thoughts on Aaron signing with the Steelers, and if you've talked with him at all since he did?
I have not, no. I think I've been saying it for a while now. I totally anticipated this. Probably took a little longer than I even anticipated, but it doesn't shock me. So, yeah, it'll be a great challenge for us. We all know what type of player he is and how good he is, and I'm sure he'll be telling everybody all our signals, so we'll have to, maybe play that mind game with him a little bit.
Mentioned multiple times now the limitations that there are now on this time of year. Years ago, when Saturday was here for a year, he turned to a bunch of us while we're watching practice and said, "Does that look like non-contact to you?" You've really limited that. I understand that you have to follow the rules and they're the same for everybody, but do you feel as a coach that you're not quite where you would like to be with training camp coming?
Well, the thing that I think there's so much value in, especially with a lot of our younger players that may have not, all the rookies that haven't played in this league, is obviously you want to teach them what to do, but you also want to teach them how to practice and how to work together, but still compete to get the most out of them. Because the reality is, when we get to the regular season, and we'll have time throughout the course of training camp to try to teach that, but you'd like most of that teaching to be done. But the reality is, when you get to the regular season, the majority of your practices are not padded. So how do you get the work in, playing competitively, but still taking care of each other? And I think that there's a lot of value in that, especially this time of the year.
I don't know if we had a chance to talk to you about this, but we talked to Sean and Kenny about, they're going over to Kenny's house 2 or 3 nights a week, even waiting to look at indie tape,
That's great. I love hearing that.
How much do you bring those guys in and say, is this going on, or encourage? I know it happens.
We always encourage it. I think that's part of the job of our position coaches as well, is try to make sure these guys are getting together and establishing that bond, that brotherhood. I think that when you're more connected, you're naturally going to fight for the guy next to you that much harder. So I always think those things, you can't get enough of them, especially here. I'm like, what are you guys going to do? You just go sit in your house or your apartment, wherever you are? Like, why not get together? I know Josh Jacobs, I want to say last week, took a bunch of guys bowling, and I think some of the vets went as well. So, yeah, you always encourage that, but ultimately it can't be forced, right? It's got to organically happen. You can stress it, but they got to want to do it.
Now, where do you think Carrington's at now in year 3? You asked him to bulk up last year, he did it. Like, he seems to do everything he does.
Yeah, he's been extremely coachable, high character guy, busts his butt every day, has approached it the right way. So I'm excited for him. I think he continues to prove, and the more he plays, the better he gets. So I'm excited for him.
What's the next step for Evan Williams? He was all rookie, made some plays. What's next for him?
Just continue to be, I think he's got to continue to learn his body, and because I know there were some injuries last year, just to make sure that he's available. But I think just building on what he's already done and being consistent with it. Again, another guy that loves the game. He's extremely intelligent. He comes in with the right mentality, and he just works.
Learning your body, what kind of do you mean, just knowing what it can take, what it can't take in terms
Yeah, I think all of that, just knowing how you get your body prepared for practice, how you rehab, just the preventative maintenance, what you're putting into your body. I think all of that's, it takes time to learn that. And as you grow and mature, I think you're a little bit more mindful of the things that you're doing.
More, please. With Jordan Morgan at left tackle and competition along the offensive line in general, what are some of the things you're evaluating this time of year when the pads are on?
Well, it's harder too, right? It's more or less just making sure that they're using the right techniques and knowing what to do more so than anything else. But I still think you can work your technique even in a slower paced period, in a jog through. And then obviously when we got to those full speed periods, those 2-minute drills, it's going to be predominantly pass. I would say 95+%, if not higher. So, yeah, there's a lot of value too going through all the drills. You're always watching the drills, evaluating them, but ultimately you got to see when the pads come on.
Given those limitations, what have you been able to learn about Jacob Monk with him getting all the work that helped him along?
Yeah, he's done a nice job. Again, another guy that's just I can tell you he's a lot more comfortable in terms of and confident in terms of going out there knowing what to do. And for him, it's just going to come down to those live reps.